Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look at the top 10 worst contracts in the NHL. It was a recent article this past week from Bleacher Report, and we're going to take a look at their top 10 worst contracts in the NHL. We're going to react to it in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, guys, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below, and let's take a look at the top 10 worst contracts in the NHL. I'm going to start this video on a somber note. 88% of you watching these videos are not subscribed to our channel. It's a very sad thing. And we have to change that. Guys, if you are not subscribed today, all I ask is that you give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either one. It helps me out either way. Comment in the video down below whether you like the flow or not, as well as hit that big red button right below me. Should be right below me. That big red subscribe button to help us get that 88% of you not subscribed down to maybe 80, 75, 50% maybe. Help me out and give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. So with that out of the way, guys, let's take a look at the top 10 worst contracts according to a recent Bleacher Report article by Lyle Richardson. And we are going to comment. Oh man, my hair got messed up from that. The flow game is on point though today. The top 10 worst contracts in the NHL. We're going to start things off up in Nashville. I think the Nashville Predators are in for a lot of hurt this season. Not just this contract. At number 10, they have Ryan Johansson as the worst contract in the NHL at number 10. The 10th worst contract in the NHL. Ryan Johansson has been with this team for a couple of years. And that trade a couple years back, Ryan Johansson for with the Columbus Blue Jackets for Seth Jones, I would say has worked out quite well really for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Seth Jones is a top 10 defenseman in the NHL, in my opinion. And unfortunately, Ryan Johansson is not. And Ryan Johansson still has another 5 years at $8 million per season. Yikes. That is not pretty. And when you look at his numbers, they are not pretty either. The Vancouver native has not done so well. In his career with Columbus, in his first season in the NHL, his rookie season, 21 points in the NHL. His best season since then was the 2014-2015 season. He put up 71 points in 82 games that year. But since then, has come really nowhere near that. He put up 34 points, 61 points, 64 points, and then he put up 36 points in this 68-game season this year. He has 442 NHL goals in 660 NHL games. That's not terrible. He is a former 4th overall pick in 2010. He is only 28 years old. He's just getting into his NHL prime, but the hype around him has definitely gone down. And the fact that he comes in at $8 million per season, definitely a hole in the pockets of David Poile and that Nashville Predators group. And meanwhile, you look at Seth Jones. I hate to compare the two, but this is a one-for-one trade, and there's really nothing else to look at. Seth Jones is 26 years old at $5.4 million per season for the next 2 years. He's an assistant captain for the Blue Jackets, as well as he's a right-shot defenseman, which, honestly, the Nashville Predators, they didn't need. It's probably something you probably could have got more than Ryan Johansson for that. So, tough way to start the countdown down here for the Nashville Predators, but that's just how it goes. So, let's keep going. So, at number 10 is Ryan Johansson. At number 9, yikes, this is only 1 year into this contract. At least the Ryan Johansson one, it's a couple years later, 2 or 3 years later. But this one, it's only been a year, and it's not aging well at all. At number 9 is the Buffalo Sabres, Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner last season signed a 7-year, 8-year, $9 million per season contract. There's still 7 more years on that deal, and $9 million per season. He's 28 years old. This deal is going to take him till he's 35 years old, and he really struggled last season with the Buffalo Sabres. And this guy, he was at points playing in the bottom 6 for the Buffalo Sabres, making $9 million per season. The Toronto native last year put up only 23 points in 59 games with the Sabres last year. And the season before that, he put up one of his career highs, 63 points. His first season with Buffalo, he did. He put up 63 points that first season. This past season, not so great. And the other seasons, his career high was 63 points. He got that 3 times in his NHL career, but that is his career high, is 63 points. But worse is his plus-minus numbers. In his NHL career, the only year he was ever a plus was his rookie season. He put up 63 points, and he was a +3. Since then, he's been a -8, -21, -14, -24, -2, -3, -27. How the hell is that? A plus-minus of 0 and a -22. So he's been on the ice giving up more goals than goals that were scored. That's basically all that's telling you. So not so great. He does have 465 points in his NHL career, over 700 games in the league. That's pretty impressive. He's a former 2010 draft pick, 7th overall. Like Ryan Johansson, that 2010 draft, not so pretty for these guys. At number 8, and this one is only a year old as well, and the Florida Panthers are not exempt from this. The Florida Panthers, Sergei Bobrovsky, the goaltender for the Florida Panthers, signed a massive contract last offseason with the Panthers, a big 7-year contract at $10 million per season, $70 million over those 7 years. Sergei Bobrovsky is not worth $10 million per season, and the Islanders dodged a major bullet with this one. Sergei Bobrovsky. Now, he may have played better with the New York Islanders, especially with their coaching staff, but he wanted to go down to Florida, and that's just unfortunately how it went. I think once Artemi Panarin decided he wasn't going to go to the Islanders, Bobrovsky left as well and decided he was going to take his own road down to the Florida Panthers. Last season, with the Florida Panthers, over 3 goals against per game and a .900 save percentage. So at least he kept it at 9, but that is not pretty. And he really had bad numbers compared to his NHL regulars. I mean, you look at what he's done over his career, a .254 goals against average in his entire career and a .917 save percentage, which, honestly, that's not even that good. So, I don't know, Sergei Bobrovsky, yikes, not a great start to his career there with Florida, but he's put up pretty impressive seasons in Columbus, a .931, a .921, and a .913 in his year before he signed with the Panthers. That's just how it goes. So, and honestly, his career low was that year with the Columbus Blue Jackets in his final year. Obviously, his tension between John Tortorella, seems like that's a theme with Tortorella. He doesn't seem to get along with a lot of guys, but that's just part of it. So, Sergei Bobrovsky has got to rebound this season. And with a coach like Joel Quenneville, he's going to be a hard ass. He's going to be all over Bobrovsky. He has to get better this offseason. He's had plenty of time off since the Islanders whooped their ass in the qualification round. So he has to get better for this Panthers team. And he did look to turn around the corner toward the end of that season, toward the end of the regular season as well as in that postseason, but it just wasn't enough for the Panthers. At number 7, this one kind of surprises me, but I think because of the term of the contract, it really hurts him. At number 7, it is the Arizona Coyotes. See, this is the problem, though. We look at like teams that are not making money in the NHL, and then they have the worst contracts in the league. Go figure. They don't even make money, and the Leafs will pay them out, right? It is Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the captain, the face of the Arizona Coyotes. He's 29 years old, and back in... He signed this contract back on July 1st of 2018. On that date, he signed an 8-year, $66 million contract, a little over $8 million per season for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And I think that the Arizona Coyotes are going to have a hard time trading Ekman-Larsson at this point. OEL has shown that, he is a good defenseman, but you put him onto another defense, he probably isn't going to be that good. Perfect example, and this is a Coyotes situation. Back a couple years ago, some of you may remember at the trade deadline, the big acquisition for the New York Rangers was bringing in big-time offensive defenseman Keith Yandle from the Arizona Coyotes, obviously giving up their first-round pick, Anthony Duclair, who was a hot prospect for the New York Rangers at the time, and he became just an average defenseman on that New York Rangers blue line, and that's just kind of how it goes. Unfortunately, that's been the situation. I think a lot of teams are afraid of with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He plays great when he's playing, almost 20 minutes a night with the Coyotes. You throw him on any other blue line, is he going to be that good? It's a good question to bring up. He does put up consistently 40 to 45 points per season. His best season was the 2015-2016 season. As a defenseman, he puts up 55 points. That's pretty solid as a defenseman, but this most recent season, he's put up 38 points. And the big thing with him is he's a minus a lot of seasons. A -4, -18, -6, -25, -28, -16, and a -3. Now, again, that's the whole team as a whole. Obviously, a bad goaltender can really tank your stats with that. A bad, forward group that can't put up goals. But it is a theme with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And obviously, you have to consider the fact that he is on that team. So, to a degree, he is at fault here. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, not such a pretty start. And you know what? He's a good defenseman. He puts up points. He's a great power play defenseman. I think the Boston Bruins are a team that he would fit well with that Bruins team. I think a lot of Coyotes fans, they like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's the face of the franchise right now. So I don't think he'll be going anytime too soon. And especially with that contract, it makes it even more difficult to move a guy like Ekman-Larsson. All right, so now we're moving on to my hometown team. At number 6, we are taking a look at the New York Islanders. As the New York Islanders, a great parting gift. Thank you, Garth Snow, for this amazing power forward that has not played with the Islanders very much. He's been playing in the AHL with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers for the past couple of seasons. Garth Snow signed Andrew Ladd back on July 1st of 2016 to a 7-year, $38.5 million contract. We talk about why there are lockouts in the NHL. Here's experiment number 1. You have these contracts like this. This is why. So anyway, I don't blame Andrew Ladd, because Andrew Ladd, are you going to turn down that contract? Am I going to turn that contract? Fuck no. I'm signing that contract today. But anyway, that's besides the point. So it was a $5.5 million cap hit per season. Andrew Ladd, he's in the 5th year of this 7-year deal. Hopefully it just ends soon. And this is a bad contract for the Islanders. He's a Bridgeport player. He's going to play in the NHL every once in a while. But as we see the emergence of guys like Michael Dal-Cole, Kiefer Bellows, who are power forwards on the New York Islanders, despite having Anders Lee in the top 6 as well, kind of makes Andrew Ladd irrelevant. He's not as good as he used to be. He's injury prone, and he's just slow compared to these other younger, more talented players. And he's at $5.5 million for the next 3 years. So thank you, Garth Snow. That was a great gift that you gave the Islanders on your way out. Now, if you guys remember, the reason they signed Andrew Ladd was the replacement to Kyle Oposo, who decided not to sign with the Islanders. He decided to take his ventures up to Buffalo to play with Jack Eichel and the Buffalo Sabres for a higher cap hit. I believe he makes $6 or $6.5 million per season. He's had his own whirlwind of issues up there in Buffalo. Obviously, he's had cancer and some really bad injuries, so it's not all to his own detriment, but the Islanders were going to be screwed either way. So thank you, Garth Snow. That's just how it goes. All right, so now, number 5. We're moving up to the top 5 worst contracts. Who is lucky enough to be in that list? We're heading up to Vancouver, as this is a very talked about contract with the Vancouver Canucks. That is Louis Eriksson. Louis Eriksson, who signed a massive contract with the Vancouver Canucks a couple of years back. Where is he? I do not see him on the list here. Louis Eriksson, the top paying forward. ahead of Bo Horvat, Brock Besser. Louis Eriksson, guys. Louis Eriksson. He signed this contract back July 1st, 2016. Man, that was a great year of free agency, right? It was the 2016 free agency. A couple of real great contracts. He signed a 6-year, $36 million contract. You do the math, $6 million per season for Louis Eriksson. That was not a great contract. Not a great contract. He was a former second overall pick, or a second round pick, back in 2003. He's 35 years old, guys. He still has another 2 years left at $6 million per season. Louis Eriksson was a great player with the Dallas Stars and the Boston Bruins, but we all knew when this contract was signed, this was going to be hell for whoever signed him. That's just how it goes. In his career with Dallas, his best season, he put up 73 points in his best season with the Dallas Stars. He was a part of that big Tyler Seguin trade where he obviously gets traded up to the Boston Bruins back in the 2012-2013 season. Would be his last season with the Dallas Stars. He had some injury issues as well along the way. And Peter Chiarelli, that great general manager who detrimented the Boston Bruins as well as destroyed the Edmonton Oilers. He made that trade to bring in Louis Eriksson. He had some decent success, to give him some credit, with the Boston Bruins. 37 points, 47 points, 63 points in that contract season, that all-important season, so he could make that cash at the end of that season, and he did exactly that. And in Vancouver, 24 points, his best season, 29 points in a full season with the Canucks. That is the best season for Louis Eriksson in his career. $6 million per season. This is why we have lockouts, ladies and gentlemen, because general managers are they're really good at signing contracts. And number 4 is the Chicago Blackhawks. You're not going to be shocked by this one. It's Brent Seabrook, the defenseman for the Blackhawks, left shot defenseman. Yeah, this is a bad contract. This was a bad contract the day it was signed, but Brent Seabrook has absolutely smacked into the NHL wall and has just fallen apart since then. He's 35 years old. Back on September 26, 2015 is when he signed this contract, so he was obviously a much different player then. He signed an 8-year, $55 million contract. I would have taken that to the bank and been pretty happy myself. But that's just how it goes. Man, it's just not working out for him, and he's on the long-term injured reserve right now for the Blackhawks. He's had injury issues, and he will probably never play a game with the Blackhawks again. As sad as that sounds, last season he was talking about how he wants to prove the Blackhawks ownership wrong and that he's a good NHL player. But by Brent Seabrook, and he was a great player. He was obviously a huge part of the Blackhawks in their Stanley Cup championships. This is what happens when you sign these guys to these big contracts. A little bit too much loyalty by Stan Bowman, and he's going to pay the price for that over the next 4 seasons, where he's paying almost $7 million per season to Brent Seabrook. Guys, we're into the top 3. Who is lucky enough to be in this part of the list? We're heading out to Southern California as the San Jose Sharks. Defenseman Marc-Edouard Vlasic makes the list. Congratulations, Vlasic. Marc-Edouard Vlasic signed a big contract with Douglas Murray, who is the general manager up there in San Jose. He's 33 years old, and back on July 1st of 2017, signed a massive 8-year, $56 million contract to stay long-term with the San Jose Sharks. That was a big year for Murray, the general manager of the San Jose Sharks. He would sign a couple of big contracts over that span. He signed Brent Burns a couple years prior, and since then he has signed Erik Karlsson to a massive contract to invest in that blue line, but invested a little bit too much and very little return in his investment there. He's in the 3rd year of that $7 million contract. It's a no-move trade clause on that, and $7 million per season. $7 million per season. Yeah, that's a bad contract. And this is one that could eventually get Murray fired as the general manager of the San Jose Sharks. I think that's just how it goes. So you may be wondering, why are you wearing this Minnesota Wild jersey? You know what it is, guys. Come on. Guys running up to Minnesota for number 1 and number 2 for the worst contracts in the NHL, according to this Bleacher Report article. And unfortunately, I hate to agree with this one, but it's just facts. The worst contracts in the NHL belong to Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, who you're not allowed to do this anymore, thanks to the NHL putting a limit to only 8 years on a contract, and they may have to make it even lower than that because of what we're seeing with some of these max year contracts. 13 years for each of them. 13 years, $98 million over that contract for each of them. Put that together, that's almost $200 million in 2 players over 13 years. What's the output on that? Did they win any Stanley Cups? No. How'd they do in the playoffs? Not even a Western Conference final appearance. Did they win the division at least? At least once? Nope, not yet. And they're in a rebuild right now. So to answer your question, these are bad contracts. And just really brutal. Obviously, Ryan Suter came over from a disgusting situation with the Nashville Predators. The Flyers put in a crazy RFA sheet on Ryan Suter, which obviously the Predators matched. The relationship did not go well with him and the Nashville Predators. The next season, he's allowed to go into free agency, decides to leave the Predators, says bye-bye, and he decides to go up to Minnesota in a package with former first overall pick Zach Parise, who was with the New Jersey Devils. Lou Lamoriello says, yeah, see you later. Go eat some rocks because I'm not signing you to that contract. He's like, all right, I'll go to my hometown. He signs with the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild have saved their franchise, or so they thought, signing a top-tier defenseman in Ryan Suter, who was a big defensive defenseman, hits guys hard, is a tough stand-up defenseman, and a filthy top overall draft pick in Ryan Suter. And it once again shows you why signing guys in free agency, it doesn't always work out. Some of the best contracts you sign in free agency are the 1 or 2 year deals for guys that are just getting paid very minimal, and they're just trying to prove themselves. Fortunately, when you sign guys to 13 years in a contract, subliminally, they realize, all right, I've hit my peak. It doesn't matter what I do. And maybe they're not doing that on purpose, but that's just the reality of it. And unfortunately, that happened with Ryan Suter and Zach Parise. Now, let's also remember Zach Parise. I really like Parise as a player. I think Suter's a solid defenseman as well. But injury issues have been a major issue for Zach Parise. Anytime you get involved with the legs, he's had major knee surgery. He's reconstructed his knees like 2 or 3 times. There's only so much you can do to the old Zach Parise at this point. The Minnesota Wild are a very solid hockey team. I think with the direction of a great general manager in Bill Guerin, I think he was a great player. Look at him. He's even in my videos every day. Obviously, I have a little bit of an attachment to the former New York Islander captain. But Bill Guerin is doing a great job with the Wild, despite having these brutal contracts on his roster. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what are the worst contracts in the NHL? Do you agree with this recent article by Bleacher Report, or do you think it's a little bit different? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, guys, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.